Chapter 17.
This is it! Can you believe it? Emily skipped down the hall beside Danielle. It's my first time being a part of a team! It's not all it's cracked up to be, Danielle sniffed. She pulled a tissue from her pocket and blew her nose. Come on, Danielle, Emily poked her arm. Don't tell me you're not even a little excited. Danielle glanced at Emily. Emily's smile lit up her face and charged the air around her. Such unbridled optimism. Danielle sighed. She couldn't drown Emily's grin in her suspicions and apprehensions. She pasted a smile on her face. It is nice to be a part of a team. See? Emily stopped in front of her door to look at the number pasted on top of it. Here it is. She shoved open the door to their team's assigned training room. Danielle paused to take a deep, steadying breath. Alex, with his lax attitude, and the Grudget waited in there. She lifted her head and walked in. Her mouth dropped. What a huge training room! It had everything they needed. A track, gymnastic mats and equipment, treadmills, dumbbells, and more. One wall had a window which overlooked the garden behind the agency complex. She wandered around the room, her head swiveling back and forth to see everything. In all her years, not even when she had been on a meals team, had she ever been assigned to a training room like this. Look at this place! Emily spun around. Do you think all this equipment is for us? Not likely. Danielle looked around the room. She couldn't help but notice something missing, namely a certain attitude-filled human and a huge Grudget. The agency couldn't afford to assign each training team a room like this. We'll be sharing with another team, most likely. Still, Emily hopped in a circle. It's impressive, isn't it? Everything impresses you, Emily, because this is your first time on a team. Danielle's eyes fell on the treadmill. She balked. Imagine getting all sweaty on those things. No thank you. But I will admit, this is more than I'd ever had on any other team. I'm so glad you like it. Alex walked in with the Grudget behind him. I had to pull a lot of strings to get this place for us. Strings I don't even have yet. Emily hopped into line beside Danielle. Danielle put her weight on one foot and set a hand on her hip. Tajay silently treaded toward them and stood beside Emily. Danielle glanced at him and scooted away. This will be our training room for the next 3 months. Alex paced in front of their line. I am pleased as punch to have you all here. He gave a smile which made Danielle want to smile back. You're all fine agents, and I know we'll work well together in the future. He spun on his heel. That said, let me be the first to heartily welcome you to the worst 3 months of your lives. Danielle's smile fled. She glanced at Emily's, whose eyes widened and mouth tightened. Now, it may look like Tajay and I chose you two ladies at random, but that's not it. Alex stood in front of them. Each of you were selected for a particular reason in order to complement this team. However, athleticism was not one of them. The two of you have some of the worst athletic ranking of any trainees in this agency. And congratulations to us for having the #1 worst ranking athlete on our team, Danielle. Let's give her a hand. He and Tajay applauded. Danielle's mouth dropped open. What was he doing? Come on, Emily. Alex turned to her. You too. Congratulate Danielle. Emily raised her hands. She looked at Danielle and mouthed, Sorry. She clapped. Heat rose in Danielle's face. He was humiliating her. On purpose. That's enough of that. Alex thrust his hand behind his back. Emily and Tajay stopped applauding. Listen up, everyone. He took to pacing again. I have big goals for this team. We are going to be the greatest team in the agency, so we can be assigned to the best missions to go all over the galaxy. To that end, we will spend the next 3 months whipping your lazy, flabby behinds into shape. He halted. As a matter of fact, he looked at each of them in the eye. Whenever you see me, I want you all to run in place. You're right. Danielle crossed her arms. Movement in the corner of her eye caught her attention. Tajay had started to jog. Emily gazed at him and started to jog as well. Tajay, quick question. Alex gestured to the air when he spoke. Said Tajay. Did I stutter at all during my speech? No. Was I unclear? No. Alex glared at Danielle in the eye. Then perhaps some members of my team are mentally deficient? No, Tajay said. Alex narrowed his eyes at her. Then why aren't you jogging, Danielle? Excuse me, Captain. Danielle snorted at giving him that title. This is not usually how teams train, and which is why they will stay at the bottom of the barrel while we will climb up the rankings. Alex narrowed his eyes. Jog. Danielle motioned to herself. I know what it takes to move up in the agency, and I don't think if you don't start jogging right now, I will kick you off my team. Alex leaned in so close his nose nearly touched hers. You're already on thin ice with the agency, so do what I say or you'll never make it on another team again. Are you blackmailing me? That would be unethical. I'm stating the facts. Alex swung around. You know you could leave this team and go call Daddy to get you on another, but no one would ever want a spoiled brat on their team who can only do things because of her connections. You'd be a useless member on a useless team. Is that what you want? Danielle clenched her teeth. No. Then jog. Danielle bit her lips together so hard she lost feeling in them. She started to jog. Good girl. Alex resumed pacing. Whenever you see me, you will start jogging. I don't care if you spy me across the room, start jogging. I don't care if I don't see you, start jogging. I don't even care if you're talking to the cute boy you've been trying to get your hooks in for ages. Start jogging. You will jog and you will not stop until I say so. Understood? Yes, sir, Emily and Tajay said. Danielle remained silent. If she opened her mouth, some unladylike words may spill out of her mouth. Alex narrowed his eyes at her. Is that understood, Danielle? Yes, sir, you stupid little... She clamped her mouth shut before she said something she regretted. Alex grinned at her. I'm beginning to understand why you were kicked off for so many teams. Danielle launched at him. She tackled him, caught him by the throat, and choked the life out of him. Not even Tajay could pry her fingers from his throat. Creepy grin, Danielle. Emily's whisper shot through Danielle's thoughts. With a deep breath, Danielle pushed the fantasy from her mind. An attack on a superior wouldn't look good on her agency record. Alex didn't seem to notice her brief departure from reality. The only exception to this jogging rule is when you are training in your primary skills. Emily, during these 3 months, I want you to log 300 hours of successful missions in hard mode on the member simulators. In other words, if you spend 10 hours on a mission and fail it, it won't count. Tajay will oversee your work. You will teach him the basics of navigating while you're at it. Tajay, you need to log 100 hours of navigation simulator time. Got it? Tajay nodded. Yes, sir, Emily said. As for you, Alex turned his grin to Danielle. You're going to be my special project. Danielle kept her eyes on Alex without saying a word. Anger pulsed through her veins and drummed in her ears, choking out the sound of her wheezing. Her lungs burned, but her blood burned more. Her chest heaved, but it couldn't compare to her desire to wipe that annoying grin from Alex's face. What is the matter with you? Alex's grin faded into a grimace. You look like you're about to die. I'm not used to jogging like this. Danielle wheezed down air. Danielle? Emily paused to take panting breath. Didn't you do this when you trained for the 2-mile run? Danielle shook her head. She couldn't make the words come out anymore. Her head started to ache. Mystery solved. Alex crossed his arms. That's why you're so out of shape. Don't worry, sweetheart. I got you. He winked at her. Danielle hissed through her teeth. She'd love to smack his smug face. Boy, it's no wonder you're terrible at running. Your form is awful. Alex examined her from head to toe. Head up. Relax your neck. Pick up your knees. Keep your posture. He adjusted her back so she stood tall when she ran. Good. Now engage your core as you run and land with your foot underneath your knees. Breathe deep from your belly. Danielle made all his adjustments. She looked at him as he studied her. It's a start. Not a good one, but we'll get back to form later. He turned his back on her. As for your skill training, Danielle, you are going to teach me the basics of being a technical specialist. I warn you, I once blew up an electric kettle trying to make tea. How did you manage that? Danielle said between pants. Not sure myself. Alex scratched his hair. We can figure it out later. For now, everyone run 10 laps. Tajay and Emily took off down the track. Danielle stumbled behind them. Let's go, Danielle! Alex jogged behind her. Don't get left behind. Danielle clenched her teeth. She gulped down air and glared at him over her shoulder. She'd run all right. She'd train and run so hard so she could chase him down, catch him, and beat the stuffing out of him.